Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Together on the Porch with me, Diane Allen. We are having so much fun this morning. I've been thinking of some interesting things in my mind as I was walking Maggie this morning. So grab your favorite beverage if you don't have it already, in your favorite cup if you don't have that already, and join me on my porch so we can talk about appreciation, puzzles, and resistance to the good. I don't know what order they're going to come out in, but they'll all be here. See my cup? It's Figment. Figment of your imagination. There's a story behind this. He's my favorite character in Epcot, of course, other than Mickey and Minnie, of course. And Figment means a lot to me because many years ago, like when I was in high school time, and I was first at Disney and Epcot first came around, I was really struggling with a lot of depression and not feeling very good about life and just wanting to do more than I could and just wasn't really sure. And I went on the Figment ride at Epcot. Now it's a kid's ride. And it completely changed everything because it was all about your imagination. And your imagination can see much more than a camera can see or an eye can see or we can feel or we can get with our senses. That there's way more to life than that. And instantly, spiritual transformation. I wouldn't have called it that then, but that's what it was. So Figment is my hero. That's the mug I'm drinking out of today. And today I'm having a little chai tea with a little tiny bit of almond creamer in it to make it smoother. So that's this morning's beverage out here on the porch after having walked Maggie for almost 3 miles today. We went for a much longer walk as I woke up early and ready to go. So the first question I have is, what did you do to show appreciation yesterday for somebody that wasn't expecting it? Did you call them? Did you connect in a real meaningful way and let somebody know that you really appreciate their presence in your world? Did you do the homework? Okay, so we have to do the homework, you guys. Let's go, right? So I did that. I called somebody that wasn't expecting to hear from me, and he was floored. Like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm just calling to say I appreciate you. And it was really kind of fun. So make sure that every day you reach out to somebody that you don't already always talk to and let them know that they're important to you in your world. Just, because whatever you put out comes back, and we want to be the lighthouses, right? So it's our responsibility to set the stage for how to do it. One of the ways you can show appreciation for somebody is to edify them to another person. And I've made a habit of this for many years. I do it a lot. Many of you have been the recipients of my edification and have received it with other people, but it's extremely important. If there's somebody that you really believe in, business-wise or personally, and there's an opportunity for you to connect them to another person in an edifying manner, then do it. That has to be truthful and honest, right? And have authenticity and integrity in it. But I'm saying do it. I love connecting people. I'm an introvert, but I know how to connect people. And I love to tell people who don't know my friend or my other person how wonderful that person is and why and what they mean to me out loud in public, right? Usually it's an email introduction, but something like that. So a way you can show appreciation is to connect somebody and edify that person and let them know what you really feel about who they are as a person or what they do in their work. Whatever that is. So that's a way you can do appreciation. Now, puzzles. The phrase that went in my head was, life is like a jigsaw puzzle. And I've written a blog about it before. I think I might have even done a podcast on it. But I started thinking about all the puzzles. And then I was like kind of going off a little bit about the puzzle that nature seems to be, but it's really not a puzzle to nature because nature has it all put together. We just haven't got all the pieces in the right places yet, right? And I think the message I want to tell all of us here today is that you're alive on purpose. You have a purpose. There's a reason why we're all sucking air. So are you being the fullest expression you know how to be today of your unique puzzle piece in the grand puzzle of the universe? Because if your puzzle is not coming to its fullest expression as we are today, knowing that we're always growing and changing, then the puzzle has a blank spot there. And I don't know if you've ever gotten a jigsaw puzzle and you got it all put together and there was a missing piece, or one that maybe got lost, but there was one or maybe two missing. And the picture was pretty except you could see the hole, right? Well, it's the same thing in the universe. If you're not being the light that you're meant to be, then you are the missing piece. And I don't think any of us are here to be the missing piece. I think we're here actually to have our pieces be even a little bit more brighter, a little bit more neon, a little bit more vibrant than the average. So what piece of the puzzle are you? And are you really, really living it to its highest potential? Now, there are days that I say, no, I'm not really quite doing it. But most of the days I say yes, because most of the days I'm very attentive to it. Now, here's another key thing. It doesn't matter how you feel. How you feel and how you're a light in the world are independent of each other. Now, sometimes they're aligned, but they're independent of each other. So you may not feel like being that lighthouse today. But imagine if the real lighthouse is just, turning the lights off, not really helping those sailors. I don't care if they're laying on the rocks. That's not how it works. They shine no matter what. So how you feel and how you are can be independent of each other, and it can feel different. I was having a rough day a while ago, and it was just like, I have a lot of intense emotions. I have emotional overexcitability, so everything feels really big, and sometimes I just need some downtime. And I was really wanting some downtime on this specific day a while back, and I had it on my calendar, and I was all excited. And then there was a client emergency, a friend of mine was in crisis, and an issue happened with the plumbing, all on the same day. The day that I was going to have this Diane day, right, to just decompress. And of course, what I thought it was going to be wasn't. So I had to work through my resistance on that, which is what started this conversation about resisting the good, right? That there's situations where we all have resistance to things. And when we resist something that we know is good for us, then it's really important to understand what to do, because giving into the resistance and then beating yourself up or calling yourself names or labeling it something bad or something like that is not the right neighborhood. So resistance is where we build muscles, where we build character. It's where we build strength. It's the inner resistance that people transcend that makes them the Congressional Medal of Honor winners. That makes them the person who wins the triathlon, the person who excels in something beyond what you imagine. It's because they conquered the inner resistance. That's what Tony Robbins helps teach people how to do. I think there's even a billboard around here for the Marines. It says something like conquering inner resistance or something. It's popping in my head. I don't remember the exact phrase, but it's important to understand that when we have inner resistance to what's good, what we should be doing, what we think is important to do, what we're called to do, especially what we're called to do. A lot of people I work with go, I know this is my mission, but I'm afraid I'm not going to do it. That's the resistance I'm talking about. Goofy, right? It's an ego-based fear construct. Its message to you is lean into it and get through it no matter how you feel. So when there's something really amazing or good that I'm supposed to be doing, like these Facebook Lives, okay? I didn't want to do it. I had every resistance in the world. But I have somebody in my life, my business coach, who's a genius. And Jason said, Diane, you have a lot of important things to say. You need to do a regular Facebook Live. Now, I resisted him a few times. And then you know what I said to myself? It's good for me. It's good for the people I care about. And most importantly, it allows the resistance and overcoming the resistance to be part of my strength and my integrity and my message and who I am. It's not just about chickening out. So I showed up and I was convinced. Now some of you guys are going to be cracking up if you're not already. I was convinced that I was going to do these Facebook Lives and Jason was going to be totally wrong. And nobody was ever going to come or like him. And more than that, my really close friends would call me personally and go, what are you doing? You're out of your mind. Now, that is not at all what has happened. Imagine that. Because Jason actually, unknown to me, tracks the tracks, the views, the people, the comments, all of that. And he even mentioned it to me yesterday. He said, you started out with however many views an hour. Now it's almost doubled, and there's a lot more people of it, of substance and all that watching you. It's not just coming and going. So your message is vital. It is important. Can't you see it? And I was already seeing it. But had I not taken the instruction and the advice and pushed through that inner resistance, I never would have this a great experience hanging out with you guys on my porch. Wouldn't have had the experience, because the moment I said yes, the name came in, Together on the Porch. My assistant made a cool graphic. It was instantly flowed. It was instantly easy the moment I said yes. So there we go. That's how it works. Yes, Melissa, that's it. Battles are won within. Yeah, that's the one. That's the Marine one. And my grandfather was the second most decorated Marine in World War I, and so I come by that Marine mentality rightly. So there's another kind of resistance. There is a resistance. Now this is to the good things, right? There is another resistance. The other resistance is the intuitive gut resistance that says, hey, you're going a little too much. Slow it down. You're pushing a little too hard. Go meditate. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Don't go down that road. That is your intuition. That is your deeper, higher conscious self reminding you that your ego, that's not your amigo, is taking you down the wrong road. Yeah, that's what it is. So we have two kinds of resistance, right? The fear resistance. That resistance you lean into and you get through it. Susan Jeffers wrote a book way back in the 70s. I read the book. It was okay. But what I really love about the book was the title, and the title was Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. Again, like Figment transformed my life, unknowing to me, because my ego was out of the way. So it couldn't throw up a deflector. There was no way my ego thought it was going to hear a message in a kid's Epcot ride that would change my life. There's just no way that was going to happen, right? So when you get the ego distracted, the rest of us can show up in other ways. So we lean into it. We lean into that stuff that we're afraid to do. In fact, I had a spiritual mentor once. She's from Colombia, cool lady, and she said, if you are about to take a step forward and fear comes up and wants you to back up, you can take one step back, but that means you have to take 4 more steps forward. So for every step back, you take 4 more steps forward, which is a gain of 3. And when you do that enough, you start learning that there's a rhythm like this, right? Of 1 step back, 4 forward, 1 step back, 4 forward. So now when I take 1 step back, whether I'm afraid and I don't know it, or I get confused, or I'm overwhelmed, or I have any of these excitable issues, what do? Take 1 step back. It gives me a different screen, a different perspective, and then I can push forward, but I have to go 3 times further. And so when you receive the wise comments of people in your world like that, she didn't know she changed my life forever. Figment didn't know, but it happens because I'm paying attention and I listen all the time. So we want to lean into that resistant fear, that resistance that has that fear wrapped in it, that has that hesitation in it, because that is your ego, not your amigo, trying to stop you from transforming. The consequence of stopping your own growth is internal dis-ease and misery, and eventually death. So if you don't want to have internal dis-ease, mostly will be found in your digestion system, like absorption of nutrients, your stomach, your colon, like that kind of stuff. When you have those issues, that's because you're not digesting life very well, right? You're resisting the flow, right? So that's one kind of resistance. The other is that sign that it's time to slow it down. Like, okay, you had this really good idea and you've dialed in for the last, 30 hours. Oh, you mean you haven't gone to the bathroom or eaten anything or drank any water? Oh, it doesn't matter because you've been focused. Your intuition's going to step in and say, back it up. That kind of resistance is one to pay attention to and then change your strategy. And then the moment you change the strategy so that you're more aligned, you're not dehydrating and hurting yourself in ways you don't realize you're doing, Once you're aligned, the ease and flow kicks back up and the resistance goes away. So the first kind of resistance, the fear resistance, what do? We push through it to transform, and then we're aligned, and then the resistance relieves, right? The intuition resistance is the resistance that tells us to slow it down, get a different look, get a different perspective, check out what's really going on here. And when we take that step back and we look around and we pay attention to our intuition, it will exactly tell us which way to align our boat, and then we go that way. You might have to adjust your course a big distance or maybe a little bit of adjustment, but it's letting you know an adjustment is needed, and you follow it, and the moment you make that little bit of adjustment, all of the resistance eases just like that. Why? Because the resistance was because you were off course. Once you get back on course and you follow your intuition, you're good. Now, intuition is not your brain telling you something or you thinking your gut is saying something. I've heard people say, well, my gut says this, or that doesn't feel that. That's not intuition. Intuition is when you're fully connected to that inner, deeper part of you, and you receive information and messages that are not typically in your own language, in your own cadence, in your own style, in your own syntax, or they are come in sights or visions or dreams. The information comes in a non-typical ego fashion. So when somebody says, well, I was thinking and my intuition said those don't go together. You can't think and use your intuition at the same time. So the brain heavy people who say they're in their intuition really ought to check that, because they're probably really in their brain calling it intuition. And so when you get that gut level thing that says slow it down or you must do something, sometimes it's you need to start working out more, buddy, or drink some more water, or what are you doing eating that junk? That's your intuition saying, hey, take care of this temple, take care of the temple. I don't care that we're on quarantine, take care of the temple, guys, right? So follow that. Once you get in alignment, the resistance leaves, the pain goes away, and life is way better until the next time you run into some more rapids, because it's not one resistance, it's all the rapids, because we're negotiating an amazing flow of life that has a lot of rocks and things that show up and resistance everywhere, so that we can keep developing and growing in strength and in character and in who we are as people. So we all go through it. We all have a difficult time. And if you don't have somebody in your corner helping you guide your ship, you're missing a real powerful way to get through the rapids much quicker. Every day I thank Jason, and every day I thank the people in my inner circle, because it keeps my brain from going all over the place. So my last little comment that kind of popped in my head was, please, please, please do not let your busy overthinking mind cast shadows on your heart. Right? Don't let how busy your mind is and all your thinking cast a shadow and dim that beautiful light of your heart. The light of your heart is where we're headed. That's where the world's headed. The more you shine the light of your heart authentically now, it takes away a lot of the resistance of your journey and the journey of everybody else. Whew. Okay, I think I got all that out. See, all that just happened in my walk. But the problem, you guys, is I went on a longer walk today, so I talked longer. But that's okay. I hope what I have said is making some sense. I hope that today, and I pray that today, that any resistance that comes up in your life or any resistance that is shown to me is moves through easily, leaving only the lesson behind, allowing that energy to be transmuted and serve someone else. Because see, it doesn't die, it just changes form and serves another in another way. You holding on to the resistance is not noble. It's actually counterproductive for all of humanity. How about that? All right. So I hope you have a great day today, and I hope you enjoy all that nature has to give you. Please let other people know how much you care about them, and allow yourself to receive care in return. It's been really fun hanging out with you guys today, and from my heart to your heart, may you have an amazing day, feel alive and vibrant, and go for it. And I'll see you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, right here on my porch with my beautiful dog. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Bye.